Does this man have an unwanted paranormal roommate? Published in January of 2021, this individual woke up to doors slamming and got up to check it out. The man says this is a frequent occurrence.
So my door just slammed again. There's no windows open in the house at all.
As he looks around the house, his roommate, Brad, asks if he's the one slamming the door.
Hey, is that you?
No.
He answers in the negative and continues his search, revealing that only he and Brad are home. After a moment, the table in the middle of the living room floor jerks toward him on its own.
You right? It wasn't me, man. I didn't even touch it.
He watches the table for a bit, while Brad seems completely unconcerned and out of it. The cameraman shows that there are no cords around or attached to the table that he could have tripped over. The only cords are to the Nintendo remote controls, but they are in front of the table. So how did this table move so aggressively? There must be spirits abound in this haunted home. A gut feeling, a sensation is almost worse than the reality itself. Say you're alone in the forest, the hair stands up on the back of your neck, you get the sensation that something is watching you. What do? Druid Raven Scout published this video in August of 2015, explaining this very scenario. Well, he packed up his bags to leave the forest. He said he felt something that he couldn't explain, a gut feeling that something or someone was following him. He said he felt threatening sensations as he walked the path over a couple of hours. He had planned on staying in the forest another night, but his intuition was telling him not to. During the 18-minute video, he explains that he feels like he's being observed. He also says he heard something strange up in the trees as he walked the path earlier. He does manage to escape the forest without meeting his stalker, but not without shaking the feeling that something certainly was watching. Kazi is with Danny Dorito and Ali H to find evidence of a spirit that they think is haunting not just this house, but most of the surrounding forest as well. They come across a ritual that someone left behind for some reason, possibly in a hurry. They figure out how to complete it and hear a noise shortly after reciting these ancient words, which I'm hoping someone who happens to practice magic might be able to recognize and tell us more.
Rolf, Niap, Ro.
They decide to leave everything behind and are well on their way back home when something ahead interrupts their hike.
Hello? Holy, you saw that, right? You saw.
At 4 minutes, I can see what appears to be a normal pair of white tennis shoes that kind of looks out of place, so I'm not exactly convinced that this is real. Not everybody in India is a believer of the spirit world. Varun Kati seeks to dispel the legends behind the most haunted places in his home country. One such debunking video of him exploring some spooky abandoned buildings in the woods left him scared but still somewhat skeptical. He goes exploring the abandoned buildings one by one, whistling and taunting for any spirits to make themselves known. Less than 30 seconds later, he gets a reminder as to why provoking the paranormal is a recipe for scary things in the woods caught on camera.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
A loud moan rings across the treetops, a scary noise from the woods that even Varun has to admit is strange enough to give pause. He gets a really bad feeling that says it wasn't paranormal, just afraid of a wild animal or something, and he gets out of there quickly. I think this brave explorer might be unwilling to admit that he just caught strange and scary evidence of paranormal EVPs caught on tape. He says this could be a monkey, but let me know if you agree. Here's another listen. It sounds like a ghost haunting the woods to me. Either way, ghost or animal, both possibilities sound terrifying. A YouTuber named Jordan Bew is about to get some food with his brother Jeremy and some friends when he sees a tiny lizard hanging out by the pool. He doesn't want to hurt the little guy, so he takes it outside and goes to set it free, but it winds up taking a wrong turn.
Go get him. Get him, bud. Oh, he's in your hair. No. Oh, he's on your head. Stop. He's nuts.
Jordan's friend goes for the close-up, but accidentally scares it towards the safety of his hair. Only its tail is sticking out and then it's fully gone. They give it some time and let it resurface. It may have changed to the same color as his hair, and you can barely see it at this point. Finally, they scoop it out and set it free, but the lizard almost doubles back for another round and jumps on one of their shoes. Fortunately, it is not a repeat performance, and they are able to shoo it away. A YouTuber named Captain Bob Hartzell finds himself in the sea caves of Devil's Island in Wisconsin when he feels uneasy and decides to start recording. Watch this part and tell me if you see something strange in the distance. A vaguely human outline can be seen standing directly in front of him. I guess this could just be a small cave opening, but this island is rumored to be haunted by numerous spirits and even a cave monster, so anything is possible. All I know for sure is that Bob feels like he is not alone, starts recording wildly, and manages to capture a silhouette roughly the same size and shape of a human. When inanimate objects start taking life around your home, maybe your house is cursed a la Beauty and the Beast, or maybe it's haunted by a poltergeist. Posted to YouTube by Horrifying Nightmares in January of 2013, the YouTuber explains, "Last week we captured footage of a bull scooting across the table. Some said it was a string, but this time the bull flew into the air, cups scooted across the table, and the entire table shook." Noting that the video speaks for itself, let's see if it does. The video shows a little boy playing at a table. In front of him is a red bowl with something inside. The boy plays for a time without incident, but the minute he walks away from the table, the bowl slides on its own to the left. In a later clip, the same red bowl flies from the table, another blue bowl and green cup slide across it, then the table jumps up, shaken by the paranormal. Would you be interested in eating at this poltergeist table? I think I'm gonna pass. This recent video of an unidentified flying device was sighted in New Mexico. It looks like a disc-shaped object until one of the lights breaks away.
What the? What?
Then they all briefly flicker out before lighting back up in a new formation. Is this some kind of special military flare exercise or what? I think I'm gonna go with what, and by what, I mean extraterrestrial life. An invasion of the home is violating enough, but what happens when the invader is a squatter? Posted by Slav Gavin to the Chills Narrator subreddit. This video was originally published to YouTube by Chino Sky Blue in April of 2017, who explains, "When I opened my front door, there was a girl squatting in my apartment. I had been renting the apartment since March 1st, but had not been staying there. On Friday, April 14th, when I entered my apartment to retrieve some clothes, this was who was in my apartment." At the beginning of the video, the woman in question runs up to the man filming, saying she didn't know she wasn't supposed to be here. She asks if he's going to show anyone this video, and he responds that he's calling the authorities. As the man continues to film, the woman says she doesn't want to get caught up in this, whatever that means, and claims she doesn't remember the previous night and just woke up here. She asks the man not to hold her there, but the man insists that she stay to explain to the authorities what's going on. She starts to panic, but he says he's not pressing charges against her.
I want you to stay here when the police do come. But listen, I'm recording everything. I'm giving you my word that I just want you to explain it to the police, but I'm not trying to press no charges against you.
The only one he has a problem with is whoever has allowed her here. While the girl steps outside, claiming she doesn't know what's going on, That's where the video ends. We'd sure like an update on what happened after this, why this girl was squatting here, who let her in, and what happened as a result. But the channel hasn't posted any further videos. Does anyone have any idea what's going on here? Some in the comments think the man handled the situation well. Others suggest she's crazy and he should be more cautious with the situation. But YouTuber Macron435 perhaps has the most interesting theory. He writes, plot twist, that's her house. Sav and Jack records what they claim is a genuine 3 a.m. paranormal encounter. Sav wakes up after a bad dream with a strange urge to check on Jack. She says she is feeling some weird energy when suddenly
picking up on this weird energy.
Her phone picks up an eerie entity that disappears upon being discovered. Watch this part and tell me if you think it's editing. It's a little suspicious how she centers the camera perfectly on the area where the ghost is to appear moments before it happens, so some people think it might not be real. The audio of this dashcam video will haunt you. At around noon in October 2014, in Indianapolis, Indiana, a woman was sitting in her car outside an office building with a dash cam recording in process. In the video, a person can be seen walking past her vehicle wearing a strange mask, while the footage only shows one individual. According to the woman, there were 5 of them total out of sight. You can hear the woman laughing as she asks the group where they got their masks. But soon she learns that this isn't a joke as they smash out her windows and rob her. The woman was pulled out of her vehicle by her hair and thrown on the ground by a woman in a face mask and camo jacket. The attacker then took the woman's cell phone and purse. It seems this wasn't the group's first attack of the day. They were also charged with breaking the window of a moving car. Looks like we're not even safe sitting in a parking lot. While staying at a hotel room in Ireland, Roisin O'Brien grabs her dad to show him something bizarre. A ghost is moving a cup on its own, she tells him. Of course, nothing happens and she looks like a total liar until suddenly...
That's freaky.
The cup moves all by itself to the edge of the glass shelf and then stops. There is no string around it that I can see, and besides, she is holding her phone and her dad is sitting on the bed clear across the room with his back turned, so no one was messing with it. She resets it, and as soon as she complains that it takes the ghost a long time, the cup moves instantly.
Like it's taken ages for it to go, you see.
So let's just say there was string tied around the cup. Her father is now standing to the right of her, so if it was him, then the cup should pull to the right in his direction. Instead, it moves straight ahead and stops exactly on the edge of the shelf, same as before. The shelf is level and there is no moisture around the rim to make it slide like that. This is glass on glass, you can hear the friction.
Ages for it to go, you see.
She's right. The cup is moving on its own, maybe from a ghost. Even ghosts get hungry. Published to YouTube in September of 2017, the spirit has got quite the appetite. While a pair films the inside of the shop, explaining in Spanish what was going on, a package of crisps fall from the shelf. As the woman filming approaches it, suddenly it shoots across the floor toward her. She and the dude quickly flee, and who can blame them? Maybe pranking the living really makes you work up an appetite. A YouTuber called Wet Tent catches a poltergeist in action in his home. As evidenced by this slamming door, he shows that there is nobody on the other side, and then waits for it to happen again. It's creepy until you see his window is open, so it could be a breeze. And here at 13 seconds, you can see a tag on his covers move in the wind. I just wanted to show this video because I think that it could help explain other videos with slamming doors. Still, I would not totally discount this video. Wet 10 should make a new one with the window closed and see if it still happens. A long time ago, I analyzed this video of a mother filming her 2 daughters sharing a meal. It looks like a nice family moment until the girl closest to the camera notices something in the other room and lets out a frightened remark. Nobody else sees it and they continue eating. Her sister tries to cheer the worried girl up, but she sees something again and starts to cry out of fear. Her mother asks her what's wrong, and all the girl can do is point to the other room. She stands up, no longer able to be near whatever it is she's seen, and then she runs to her mom for protection. Her sister is laughing hysterically at all of this, but then she turns around and sees it for herself. The video ends shortly afterwards, but that's not all. When this video was released, some commenters say that they can see the outline of a figure peering around the corner just moments before the video cuts out. Well, now thanks to this still frame I found online, I can really see what they were talking about. I only stumbled across this image recently, and I'm not sure which techniques were used to make the figure so apparent. What do you think? Was this the ghost that scared them so bad? A YouTuber named Bradley, not Bradley, is scheduled for a medical procedure on his nose, but the doctor needs to run some tests first, so he heads to the hospital for a pre-examination. Overall, he is in a fairly cheerful mood, and you can tell that he is not expecting for this routine visit to become one of the most terrifying days of his life. The nurse sticks a needle in his arm and the syringe turns bright red. Everything seems to go fine at first, but after the extraction is over, he suddenly feels faint.
The worst that happens is you just go to sleep for a second. It's fine.
I'm scared.
You're fine. I'm right here.
The entire ordeal only lasts a few minutes total, but I'm sure it feels a lot longer to Bradley, who needs to be repeatedly calmed down by his friend as he tries not to pass out. He regains his composure and reluctantly sits up, speaking slowly and still looking dazed. If you happen to have a fear of needles, then I'd be interested in knowing if your reaction is similar or different than what Bradley does here. Barack Ali offers this video as proof that his house is haunted, but maybe there is more to it than that. Listen to this part and tell me if you can hear a fan or some kind of air current or really anything that could be causing the door to slam like this. I've seen a draft cause a door to slam shut one time, but never over and over. Have you? Barack records the top and bottom of the door to show that no one is near it, so this absolutely has to be a 1 in a million problem with the ventilation system, or else the supernatural at work. This video isn't as long as the others, so I'm not going to spend much time on it, but that doesn't mean it's any less creepy. Brian Orban is cruising down the street in northeastern Pennsylvania when he turns off on an old dirt road to get to his friend's house. As he pulls up, this large humanoid figure is caught on dash cam. The head, hands, and feet are white, but the body looks brown. It's slightly bent over and does a weird hopping run to get away. Brian thinks this could be a mysterious creature because it wasn't one of his friends. Then again, this video was recorded a couple weeks before Halloween, so I wouldn't be surprised if this was planned. Tell me if this is an unknown creature or a friend in a costume. An old hospital that was recently turned into an office building is experiencing some pretty strange activity lately, as you will soon see for yourself on this unsettling piece of security footage. Right there it starts. And that door just completely opens by itself. Just watch that one more time. So the door stays completely closed and then just out of nowhere starts opening. And like the title says, this building is completely empty when this happens. So unless There's potentially a window open, like some sort of draft. I just can't think of any other reason why this would be happening. To provide some context on this video, the owner of the office building has said that he has seen somebody standing in the corner of this room, but he didn't want to say it was anything paranormal because he was a skeptic. However, just to make sure nothing serious was going on, he called the local authorities, and about a week later, after an alarm went off in the building, they came down to the office to come take a look, but they were unable to find anybody or anything. After checking the security camera footage, this is what they saw. So is this a haunted office building, or just something easily explainable, like a bad door that opens on its own or something? Let me know what you think. In the depths below, no one can hear you scream, but that's not the case when Redditor JTS4 went splunking in these Georgia caves. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit. The Redditor writes that their GoPro recorded screaming in the darkness that they never heard in person. Moreover, he says that the caves were very quiet, so quiet you can hear a pin drop. As other Redditors note, the distant scream heard literally sounds like one from a horror movie. It's clear in the clip that the Redditor didn't hear it, as he continues to navigate through the cave, talking nonchalantly to his audience. While most agree that this is super freaky, others suggest it might not be paranormal at all. Redditor Brule's Rules for Your Health writes, reminds me of a feral hog sound. They used to go in caves near my grandma's house and get trapped inside. Other suggestions include a mountain lion or a fox, while some think it could be a woman. The Redditor says the cave is popular, so who knows, but it still doesn't explain why they didn't hear it in person at the time. He also says they were very deep in the cave along an 8-mile stretch that hasn't been fully explored. Could this be the reason why? What if that figure you sometimes see out of the corner of your eye is really there? Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Malachi James. The clip shows the pregnant woman's blanketed belly, and in the background a crying kitten. Across the screen are the words, "My heart is actually breaking." But it's at the very end of the clip that your heart doesn't break but starts beating rapidly. Redditor Quality Spooky Me sums up, I didn't notice the head popping up at the end of the video the first time I watched this. What the heck is that? The Redditor says her sister didn't even notice the shadow creeping up until she watched the clip back. The Redditor says that her sister is fine, nothing bad happened to her, and no further weirdness occurred in her last week at this house. She did mention, however, that she felt heaviness there, like someone or something was stalking her. Another Redditor, Link Nadeserico, also points out the glowing pinpricks in the darkened doorway at the beginning of the clip, like eyes in the darkness. Well, some call fake on this video due to the abrupt ending. As many note, this was a Snapchat, which may be the reason for the seemingly premature cut. Others think it's a ghost of the former pet, which the Redditor has noted was a cat with black fur. Sounds suspiciously superstitious. The Haunted Side is a ghost hunting channel in Reno, Nevada, led by Patrick McCreary, a paranormal investigator who has been experiencing ghost sightings since the age of 9, and he likes exploring abandoned places where something has gone wrong in the past. Tonight, he and his fellow ghost hunter, Jason Spencer, will explore the Truckee House, a creepy and cursed place haunted by the spirits of a mother, father, and 3 children ever since they were slain by a random madman sometime in the 1940s. Within minutes, the Haunted Side detects supernatural activity on their equipment. The paranormal energy is so strong that the ghost family can finish his sentence.
We don't mean you any harm. If somebody came in here and hurt my throat, you hear that? Yeah.
A weak and weary ghost voice must belong to the father. His EVP responses always make sense, like here when they ask him to read some graffiti on the wall.
What does that say? Can you tell us what that says? What was that?
That was creepy.
On the top floor is a small rotten room that is mostly withered away from the elements. The scary disembodied voice of the father follows, hopeless as ever as it advises them not to walk across the weak floor.
Be very careful.
Is this safe for me to do this? No.
They walk around the perimeter of the house instead for more paranormal evidence, and sure enough, the two explorers hear more possible ghost noises.
Did you hear that?
The ghost hunter is understandably a little too creeped out to talk.
A young sounding, like almost cry. Like, but like young.
But in other words, it's a little ghost girl crying from the nearby haunted woods.
Did you hear that?
A few minutes later, they record this ghost sighting on video as the hand of a child pulls away from them at the last moment, a hand that's reaching out from the basement window. Although this could be the tail of a rat as it scurries away. With that said, some people claim to see a scary face looking not too far from where the ghost hand was sighted. I think I see it, but then again it kind of looks like a rock in the grass, so who knows? The exploration continues inside. Their paranormal tracking equipment is able to pick out the wireframe of Jason, which proves it works, and then it detects a second mysterious figure pressed up against a support column, like it's hiding from them. Soon the scary moment goes from a ghost sighting to actual paranormal contact.
The scary part right now is this floor.
Yeah.
You can see into the basement.
Are you down in the basement?
Both ghost sightings cease when Jason can no longer take the cold and has to walk away. The question is whether or not this was a friendly gesture or a more serious encounter, maybe even an attempt at demonic possession. Most people think of houses, hospitals, or jails when they think about ghost sightings, but some of the most unsuspecting of places can turn out to be the most haunted. This footage was taken in a popular food joint during broad daylight. A shadowy ghost suddenly materializes in a Subway restaurant. It starts out in the shape of a human and almost appears to be getting a table. When it gets back to its seat, the black shadow suddenly changes into a floating black blob of an orb. At this point, an employee or maybe a customer appears to see the ghost in the doorway. Whoever they are, they look stunned for a second and then quickly back away. The shadow orb pays no attention to the human as it floats up to the window and lingers there. It's almost as if it's taking a look at the outside world. The ghost starts to rise even higher and shrinks until it fully disappears back to wherever it came from. Maxime is on a mission to communicate with the spirits in this house. Published by Realized Alterna in April of 2022 and originally published by YouTuber Paranormal Point, this ghost hunter may have made contact with the fiery depths below. As he begins his session at night, something begins to play the piano.
Найди куклу.
A doll is mentioned through the spirit box, and outside this window he sees creepy glowing eyes. When he asks about the doll, he is simply told to find her, and find her he does. He asks what the doll's name is, and receives a scary answer. He is told to do a ritual with the doll. As he's told it's dangerous here, he hears strange screams.
Изгнать его нужно.
Снова эти крики.
He later lights the doll ablaze as part of the ritual. As he does, it raises its arm by itself. Is there anything more terrifying than this? Here's hoping the demon was exorcised. Is someone there? Posted to the Ghosts subreddit. Resurrect writes, The De Soto mine in Arizona is the creepiest place I've ever been. At the time this was taken, nobody else was there. Yet listen closely to their recording. From deep within the mine, you can hear footsteps walking on what sounds like wooden planks. The Redditor says in the video that his eyes are playing tricks on him, but he writes that they didn't hear anything but water droplets at the time. They only heard the footsteps later as they watched the recording back.
I really hope it's not my eyes playing with me, but...
Is something in this tunnel with them? Some in the comments think it's paranormal. Others suggest the water droplet theory, which is that the echoing of water droplets can distort to the point that they sound like other sounds. What do you think? Is this nothing but distorted water droplets? Or is something at the end of that dark tunnel? Is my house haunted? Writes a user named BB5432 on the haunted subreddit. This paranormal video of their place was caught on a neighbor's doorbell cam across the street, who later showed it to her out of concern. It doesn't look like much at first, but there's actually a lot of creepy things going on in this video that you might not see. But first, let's start with the basics. The Reddit poster claims her house was completely dark when these mysterious, unexplained lights started flashing all around the door. The television in the living room was not on, she says, and even if it were on, it's facing the opposite way at an angle that would not create this effect at all. Whether or not to believe her is up to you. I do, because the flashing seems too bright for a television and takes up the whole window at times. Nobody would watch a television screen that bright because it would undoubtedly hurt to look at for that long. And at 25 seconds, the creepy light grows even brighter and does not subside until the video ends. BB5432 later posted, she has no further reason to think their house is haunted, but still struggles to explain what this was if not a ghost. She adds the same thing happened to her years ago. The same neighbor showing her and her husband lights in their door, and nobody could figure it out then either. Someone said they should check the electrical wiring in that room, which I agree is a good move. But other than that, everyone else says this is super weird, and even she has to admit she's creeped out. There's also one more weird thing that I wasn't even going to mention, except she saw it too. A shadow figure in the doorway. You can see it whenever the lights go down, but it's probably most apparent at 4 seconds. I took a still image and zoomed in. Here it is with no special effects whatsoever. The outline of a shadow figure looking out the window. Tell me if you can see it too. I'd say that house is haunted, if that's not a resident. A scary ghost video from other studios has people wondering what's even real anymore. Normally, I'm hesitant about any channel that has studio or production in the name for obvious reasons, but as one person commented, this video looks compelling. This channel says they have a studio in the name because they produce beats, not ghost videos. Okay, valid reason. Let's look. So his friend Cody has been experiencing some weird activity that he thinks could be paranormal. Creepy stuff like the sink running and flickering lights with no one touching the switch. Cody soon got into the habit of recording video whenever he was in the house, just so he could have some evidence to show his friends to prove he's not a liar. This short clip is one of his most terrifying for sure.
Nope.
He comes back to a trashed kitchen after stepping out to talk to his girlfriend on the phone for 15 minutes. Everyone can see the open cabinets and tilted chair, but only Cody noticed the figure peering at him from the very top of a tall doorway at an impossible angle. He says the resolution is higher on the original video, and this is what the still image looks like without the compression from uploading on YouTube. The difference between the two is so major that I'm almost positive this has to be a Photoshop. But if it's real, you should never walk into that room again, or the whole house for that matter. A Reddit user named Poncy Flauns hears something outside of his home that leaves him too afraid to move. Listen to this part and tell me if you hear a creepy woman's voice carrying a twisted tune. The haunting melody repeats over and over again, growing louder each time. There's no way that this is an animal. One person commented that this sounds like it could be an opera, and I can't say that they're wrong. Listen again.
Like, what is that?
Then you hear what sounds to me like a cry for help, and the singing never returns. If I lived in that house, I would be immediately locking all the doors and windows. Whoever shot this footage claims to have been filming back in 2008. They were exploring an abandoned house and decided to start filming after hearing a strange noise. It's a very short clip since it wasn't long before they were running out of the house screaming. Reviewing the footage again, you can clearly see that this is not an ordinary forest creature. Its front legs bend inwards as it runs, kind of like a human running on all fours. It doesn't appear to have much of a face, yet it can somehow make a terrifying scream. The humanoid appears to be ready for the cameraman as soon as he opens the door. It approaches aggressively, but also with a hint of caution, for it rushes at the cameraman at only half speed. It also doesn't seem to pursue him when he starts running, which means it's probably just claiming its territory and wants to be left alone. The YouTuber who uploaded this video says that this is not their only encounter with the creature. Another time they were exploring the abandoned house with a friend and a knife. They peer into the house from the front yard and listen for any signs of the creature inside. They don't hear anything, so they decide to go further in to investigate. That's when they hear its disturbing warning cries. It sounds like a mix between a squealing pig and some sort of enraged dinosaur. The two quickly turn off their flashlights and remain quiet in the dark. Then they slowly get up and start sneaking away, but just when they think they are safe.
The heck is that? Oh, shoot, no! Shoot! Just get out of the house! Get out of the house! Just get back to the house! Just get back to the house! Fuck, what's that? Jesus Christ.
They run back full speed to their nearby home. When they review the footage, they vow to go back to the property the next day with guns, but they never got the courage to follow through. Since the monster never chased them in either video, perhaps it was just as uncertain of them as they were of it. Have you ever captured something out of the corner of your eye in the woods? Vivian Hoffman shares this mysterious video to Facebook page Kentucky Mysteries. Watch closely. Let's see it again. The video was taken while driving, so it's an unsteady capture, but this still photo gives us a clearer image of the figure. It looks like someone in a long cloak wearing a hat. Though the attire isn't distinct, it looks like clothing from a past time period. The figure looks unnaturally dark, considering it's the middle of the day. I feel like it could be a shadow figure. Many in the comments say the old hills mountains of Kentucky are known to be haunted. Whether a ghost, a skinwalker, or the devil himself, I'm not sure, but this unknowable being definitely makes me nervous. Upbeat Jason puts on a helmet cam and rides around the neighborhood with his friend on BMX bikes. The video is mostly a nice view of the countryside until he comes across some neighbors with aggressive dogs and no leash. Jason tries to get past them instead of taking another way around, and suddenly finds himself flanked on both sides.
Ah! There, go fast!
A dog lunges straight at Jason, jaws snapping. I don't think they make any contact, but I can tell by the sound of their bark that they are ready to attack. Clearly, they would have protected their territory if Jason stuck around, which he does not. But just when he thinks he is a safe distance away, he hears barking behind him and the chase is on again. Eventually, an adult picks them up and quickly puts their bike in the back of their truck before anything else happens. I really hope the two friends never bike past that house again. A woman haunts this old house, and these paranormal investigators are about to meet her. Published by Thiago Furacao, he and his partner are exploring this haunted home when they are greeted by this. their EMF meters going full throttle as they look back at the doorway terrified.
C'est vieux! Oh!
They follow the phantom woman into this room, but they find no one. Still, their EMF meter is full. There's a crack in the wall in this room, and Thiago instinctively heads towards it. Setting her camera there, she captures the woman again. Would you remain in this home with such a reclusive figure? Or is it time for these two to leave her to her ghost town? Have you ever heard your loved one's voice coming from another world? Posted to TikTok by Gio Van Lima, this creepy video will catch you off guard.
Que porra é essa, mano?
Vem cá.
Que porra é essa?
Amor.
The man recording hears a woman's voice which he identifies as his girlfriend's coming from around the corner, but he turns to find her asleep next to him. He writes that they were alone at the time, so who or what is trying to lure him into another room?
Que porra é essa, mano?
Vem cá.
Que porra é essa?
Amor.
Is this one of those demon spirits? I think that's a strong possibility. Published by El Paso, yeah. What did this garage's security camera capture in the cover of darkness? This mysterious figure breezes past, but from what I can make out, the stiff way it moves does not look human. Let's take a closer look. Its form too appears inhuman. Even considering the low quality of the camera, this doesn't look like any type of kid or animal I've ever seen. I'm fairly certain it's extraterrestrial. Do you have any theories? Would you ever purchase a house knowing that somebody passed away in it? Posted to TikTok by Don't Be an Ash Hole. This person wasn't bothered, that is until she ripped up the carpet. On the floorboards, a body outline is found with the case number and date written beneath one arm.
I wasn't bothered knowing someone died in my new house. But imagine my surprise when I ripped up the floor.
There's also a stain on one side of the outline. So did the person just pass away, or was his life taken? Some are debating in the comments whether this is real or not, saying that the floorboards would be replaced as a biohazard, and that they don't draw these outlines anymore, as doing so can contaminate evidence. So is this just a trick by previous homeowners, as some TikTokers are suggesting? Talk about leaving a mark on a place. This footage was apparently found inside the Penhurst Asylum, which is a real abandoned place located in Pennsylvania. The footage contains two students exploring the clearly abandoned building, and while nothing too bizarre happens in this footage, the backstory and timing are enough to make you scream. The two student explorers were never seen again after this. Well, that is terrifying enough. I want you to focus on the timestamp in the corner. Notice how they are ending up in new spots in the asylum at a faster and faster rate. Near the end of the video, the pair end up in the forest at a rate where the speed they are traveling is simply inhuman. What do you think is happening here? If this footage is real, then it is a case where the happenings would never be believed, if not for it being recorded. This crab fisherman caught more than he bargained for. Published by Casey's Spotlight. Believe it or not, this is a real thing that's swimming in the waters of our oceans. Known as a wolf eel, this super creepy species dwells in the North Pacific. With a tail that stretches some 8 feet, wolf eels often wrap themselves up into caves, launching out with their wolfish heads to snatch prey, usually shellfish, urchins, and crabs, with crabs crawling in the cage alongside him. This particular wolf eel appears to be mid-meal, as there's something large in its mouth. The fishermen pull the object out of the eel's mouth. What do you think of this creepy creature? My advice? Steer clear of taking an icy dip in the North Atlantic. A YouTuber named Bradley, not Bradley, is scheduled for a medical procedure on his nose, but the doctor needs to run some tests first. So he heads to the hospital for a pre-examination. Overall, he is in a fairly cheerful mood, and you can tell that he is not expecting for this routine visit to become one of the most terrifying days of his life. The nurse sticks a needle in his arm and the syringe turns bright red. Everything seems to go fine at first, but after the extraction is over, he suddenly feels faint.
Wow. The worst that happens is you just go to sleep for a second. It's fine.
I'm scared.
You're fine. I'm right here.
The entire ordeal only lasts a few minutes total, but I'm sure it feels a lot longer to Bradley, who needs to be repeatedly calmed down by his friend as he tries not to pass out. He regains his composure and reluctantly sits up, speaking slowly and still looking dazed. If you happen to have a fear of needles, then I'd be interested in knowing if your reaction is similar or different than what Bradley does here. A YouTuber named RevoX encounters a wild pheasant in the graveyard that is not at all afraid. The colorful bird looks over its shoulder to make sure he is watching, and then takes the lead, guiding him someplace quite important that I'll reveal in just a moment. It hops off the road, and at 1 minute and 8 seconds, walks this little beaten trail of matted grass.
Have you ever seen anything like it before?
That's been trampled over many times before. The determined little bird stops and circles back to the human, again showing absolutely no signs of fear. It even looks straight at him, at the end like it knows what is being said.
There's my mum's grave, and it will remain, as it has done for the past few days, going round and round it.
So is this a real spirit guide or just a pet? Some Native Americans believed pheasants to be a sign of protection and concealment because they like to bury themselves in tall grass. A creepy behavior when taken within the context of a graveyard. They can be tamed, but even if this is a pet, I don't think you can teach it to lead you somewhere for over a minute, and I never see it get a food treat as a reward or anything, so I think it's real. YouTuber Eder Hernandez and his crew are about to face off with some dark magic. As they're wandering in the darkness, they hear this witch's cries.
Soy... ¡Ah, la verga! ¿Escucha? ¿Estoy loco o sí se escuchó? ¡Ah, la verga, negro! ¡Ah, la verga! ¡Ah, la verga!
When they come upon this structure, they hear her again.
¿Qué pedo, loco? Negro, hace para acá. Hazte para acá. Hazte para acá. Espérate, güey, es que ¿dónde fue?
And then she appears.
Exactamente. De que hay algo paranormal aquí, hay algo paranormal. Sí, pero no es bueno. ¡A la verga! ¡No mames, güey!
At first, they keep their distance.
Güero, 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 güero. Alumbren allá, güey, allá está.
But even from a distance, it seems she's not having it.
Hey. Ey, no mames, Fósil, ayúdalo, güey. Fósil, verga. Y yo traigo las cámaras, güey. Agarra aquí. Ey, espérate, loco. Eder.
They again see her in the darkness.
Se está convirtiendo en quién sabe qué verga, güey. Vámonos. Ah, no mames, güey. Vámonos.
After which, she flees into the night.
Madre, güey. Allá arriba, idiota, arriba. A la verga, güey.
Why did she take off? I think she got what she came for. Edder's soul. A child is quietly doing homework at the living room coffee table, but something in the room doesn't want to keep the peace. This creepy clip was published by Adit and Anika in May of 2021. According to the video's timestamp, the footage was originally captured nearly 2 decades ago at around 1:40 p.m. on April 13th, 2001. A child is writing. A cupboard door on the entertainment center flies open. The little girl doesn't seem too rattled by it. Perhaps she is used to strange poltergeist activity in her home. She walks calmly over to shut it and sits back down to her homework, but the energy in the room isn't done harassing her. 2 of the doors pop open simultaneously. One of them closes on its own, while the girl closes the other. Again, she doesn't appear surprised by the incident, and studiously heads back over to return to her work. That's when the poltergeist decides to shock her once and for all. The coffee table moves on its own, rolling across the floor. At this, the girl screams and races out of the room. For the ghost, mission accomplished. At least she'll have a real excuse for not finishing her homework. Something lives in the dark corners of this abandoned Catholic school. Published by Exploring with Big D in January of 2022, a paranormal team is exploring the school when they hear something unholy. Listen closely. At the very beginning of the video, you'll hear an animalistic growl. It sounds like it's coming from the belly of the beast. The guys don't seem to notice it as they're filming, but they certainly did after reviewing the footage. After seeing how empty this school appears, where do you think this mysterious growl came from? It appears for now the answer to this question will remain a mystery. 2 co-workers at a radio station are hearing really strange noises from the basement and want to investigate. They recently heard that a nearby building was haunted and decided to see if the paranormal activity was spreading to their area. The woman in this video says that she went downstairs to get some water and heard these really strange noises.
Can you hear it?
I don't know if you guys can hear that. I can hear it.
It sounds like screaming.
Yeah, it sounds like there's like screaming coming from the pipes.
Or like growling or something weird.
They are talking about how old the building is as they walk down an old stairway to the basement entrance. The noise is growing louder the entire time. They take a deep breath and head to the final stretch of their journey. Eventually, they come across a rather ominous sign.
If you've ever seen a horror movie, you see this sign and obviously you don't keep out, you go in.
No, you don't, you stay out.
The person filming bravely walks in and the video ends. We'll never know if this was a paranormal entity or just common boiler room problems. A man believes the stairwell in his apartment is haunted by a creature that's not paranormal, but not human. He thinks he sees movement and says this is a still image. The image has gone viral, so I wanted to analyze the video. The video does not look nearly as convincing as the image, which is often the case because it is harder to animate than Photoshop. The figure shows a convincing lack of realistic movement as it dips back into the darkened doorway from where it came. So if you've ever seen this popular picture and were wondering what the accompanying video looked like, now you know. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Kane Sweet 2000, this Redditor wrote, "Hi all, we moved into a council house since January, and we had some very strange things happening. We have a vintage radio and it has been making some strange noises. The weird thing is there isn't any batteries inside it." Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Finish?
There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Lechiflada wrote, "That's really strange." Well, GameCat UK wrote, "Where is the radio in the video? Do you have a picture? I have a feeling it's a rare example of an old semiconductor picking up on local radio waves, though the amplification is baffling. I think the radio is that thing in the bottom left corner at the 5-second mark. Which side are you on here? Let me know in the comments." A YouTube channel called Proper Life dares to take a 24-hour challenge in one of the scariest and most haunted hotels in the USA. Built in 1910, the Stockyards Hotel was the first bed and breakfast business in Fort Worth, Texas. Since then, a number of full-body apparitions from different time periods still haunt the old building. Paranormal sightings that the Proper Life crew hopes to witness for themselves. At 3 a.m., the ghost hunters go exploring the creepy hotel for any late-night signs of being haunted. Ryan soon discovers some handwritten notes left behind by different groups of paranormal investigators, and he reads their words out loud. His recountment seems to inspire some fresh poltergeist activity that's caught on camera.
And heard a strange noise in the middle of the room.
What?
What's that?
What?
Look at the mirror.
A mirror on the wall begins to move on its own. Objects are not moving in the next room over, a room with a fan on full speed mind you, and yet this much heavier object is moving by itself, which seems paranormal to them, and I guess to me too for that matter. And when they go exploring the haunted room to further investigate, they discover that the fan, the only thing that could be moving the mirror, is turned off, and then his camera is caught going really out of focus on Zach, like a ghost is near. This keeps happening even though the lighting is fine, and it goes on long enough to be considered paranormal evidence.
It's not focusing on you. It's like a flashing. It is not focusing on you. It is not focusing on you at all.
We good?
No. Really. It's not focusing on you. That's really.
It's weird how their camera only does this around Zach. Ever since he went into the same room where an object was caught moving by itself, maybe a spirit has attached itself to him. Meanwhile, more objects continue to move on their own at 3 a.m. when the group splits up to cover more ground.
This room's really creepy. Like, do you get the chill in here? Like, you feel that?
Look at that hat on the wall.
Like,
Did you hear that?
Yeah. Was that not you?
Ooh, that's creeping. Ooh, it's still creeping. Ooh, go.
And when they reconvene to share their findings, more paranormal evidence is caught on tape.
She's like dripping down her face. Did you guys hear that?
What was that? Did you guys make a note?
The entire Proper Life crew is gathered in the same room in close proximity here, so there's no way those scary noises should be coming from another room, unless you're willing to admit the Stockyards Hotel is beyond creepy and definitely haunted.
One night I'm in my bed asleep, and this old lady comes out of my closet. She's like down her face. Did you guys hear that?
What was that? Did you guys make a note?
Exploring an abandoned, secret nuclear bunker designed for NATO headquarters? What could go wrong? That's what the crew from YouTube channel Broken Window Theory did in November of 2020. The team explains a bit about the video, writing, "In the belly of a mountain, we found this secret NATO bunker at an undisclosed location, hard to find, and even harder to enter. Naturally, the team considers it the ideal place to get trapped, as they dive right into the belly of the beast. The bunker is located in southern Italy. They arrive at the entrance, an unobtrusive cement block which they pull up to reveal the tunnel that they climb down into. The secret bunker was dug right into the side of the mountain and stretches several kilometers. As they walk deeper and deeper into the mountain, it gets colder by the minute. 200 or 300 people were stationed here in the darkness when it was active. Now, only moldy furniture and rusted pipes remain. They arrive at the fallout door, which looks creepy and foreboding in and of itself. Later, they come across a control room, as well as lists of aircraft and maps still pinned to the walls. When they come to the water reservoir, they toss a few rocks in to test the echo, which seems never ending. The The echo sounds even more ominous a few moments later, almost like someone singing. After exploring a bit further, they finally climb out of the bunker and back into the 21st century. Although this bunker is a pretty epic urban exploration, it's lucky it was never made necessary, otherwise the 21st century may not exist. While this doesn't look like your classic unidentified flying object, it certainly is one. Published by Arte Morbid in April of 2022, this scary video captured something hovering over a street in Mexico City. Security camera footage shows a dark object floating down the center of the street about a foot above the pavement. While the uploader thought it was a Mylar balloon at first, a closer look had him second guessing. He notes that it has a shadow and sometimes moves in a slight rotation. Some of the comments still think it's a Mylar balloon or a drone. Others think it's CGI. One commenter says it looks like it's morphing in and out. Do you have any other theories? I think there's certainly something mysterious going on here. A YouTuber named Cup of Mocha is in the middle of making a video when she realizes she is no longer by herself at home.
What the This door is not supposed to be open.
The video goes from light and playful to an emergency situation after she sees the busted basement door. I personally would have called the police at this point, but Cup of Mocha decides to stay. Watch this part and tell me if you think she should have ran upstairs or kept recording.
I'm just gonna film this just in case like the police find it or something. But that's what the heck is going on?
She goes from room to room half expecting to get jumped by some crazed intruder at any moment. She eventually tiptoes into a large laundry room with many hiding spots. It looks all clear until this happens next.
There's literally no one here. Oh my!
According to Cup of Mocha, someone bumps her from behind and she drops her camera as they run away. I wasn't sure if this was real or not, but over 1 year later, she still appears to be having problems with this obsessed fan.
Oh my god, Monique, we need to go. Come here.
What?
She sounds really scared here, but I would like to know if you think she is truly in danger or just making a fictional series. What's scarier than being home alone when you think you are, but you're actually not? Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Amy Dancing Again, the Redditor explains that she was home alone and making a TikTok video when she started hearing noises. She writes, I heard banging noises from the spare room we use for storage. No one else was home and there seems to also be a weird humming noise. The clip appears to be taken in Amy's room. Although faint, you can hear knocking and banging noises in the background. The strange humming sound could be a car passing or some sort of vehicular noise, but as for the banging, who knows? Can you hear that? Amy asks. Yes, Amy, we can. Time to take a leaf out of Macaulay Culkin's book and start setting up some booby traps. This 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck Japan years ago. Earthquakes are common in this part of the world, but what happens next is not.
In the distance among the swaying buildings, a bright glow in the night sky, possibly what scientists call an earthquake light.
A bright light burns intensely over the city for nearly 10 full seconds before extinguishing as suddenly as it came. The light appears to have caused no damage and was accompanied by no sound. It does not look like it was caused by a blown out transformer or any other kind of equipment. Scientists have documented this type of phenomenon before, known only as earthquake lights, but they don't know what causes them. They occur in less than 1% of earthquakes and have been reported for hundreds of years. A handful of theories exist, but a real explanation has never been proven. All we know for sure is that it creates an eerie light show that witnesses will never forget. Jordan Powers sees something in the sky, and all his mom can do is get mad at him for it.
What are you looking at?
She doesn't see anything and thinks that he has lost his mind, but we can see them just fine. Mysterious lights, 5 of them all flying in a strange formation. Jordan describes these unexplained lights as silver in color, and months later still has no idea what they were. It happened in Kelowna, a city in the Canadian province of British Columbia. Somebody from Virginia says they've seen the same lights and describes them as hiding in the clouds. I'll admit this short 13-second video is not a lot to go on, but what little evidence there is does look unedited and quite bizarre. Hopefully I can find a longer video taken by somebody else on the same day to confirm this sighting is real. Sometimes that mysterious noise is your haunted ice maker. Other times things are even more chilling than they seem. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Oranjavi, and originally posted to TikTok by Pershka. This one is sure icy. According to the TikToker, she was intending to capture a scary sound her ice machine kept making on camera, but instead she got a lot more than she bargained for. As she walks from the living room to the kitchen, for a split second while the lights are off, you see a little girl standing there in the darkness next to the ice machine. Watch carefully. It's just for the slightest of moments before the light flicks on and she disappears. The girl is pale and dressed in black with long black hair. She stands there motionless before vanishing into thin air with the light. Coupled with this is the eerie sound the ice machine truly was making. It sounds like the windy moans of a ghost. Tima2013 writes in the comments, I have that same ice machine. It does not make that sound. Yikes. Yikes is right. You never know who is waiting in the darkness for you. 2 women get on an elevator and strike up a friendly conversation with each other. They shuffle around a lot, and you can tell nothing is occupying the area behind them. Soon they get off the elevator and leave behind a child who is glowing bright white. The otherworldly aura looks like it was probably edited using special software. The way the child looks straight down is a somewhat outdated horror movie cliche. Both of these indicate that this video is most likely fake, but there's something about it that makes me feel it could be real. So I'd like to get the final confirmation from you. Fair warning, this video is said to be cursed, so I am in no way responsible for what happens to you as a result of watching it. They are recording nothing in particular when a horrifying monstrosity rushes out of the pitch black backyard and straight towards the camera. I hope this video isn't real, but if it is, then it doesn't look like the person had much of a chance. Hopefully you won't befall the same fate for watching. Redditor asserted skirted motion activated cameras detected motion in the middle of the night, but it isn't something I've ever seen before. Keep an eye on the bottom of the garage door. Here it is again, more slowly. Something appears to slip beneath the garage door, but it looks like a shadow. My guess would be that this is an unknown shadow entity. The way the shadow reaches out is even tentacle-like. What do you think it is? Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by ConsciousSwing7599, this redditor wrote, trying to film a podcast until some intruder or some kind of lost creature started stalking us. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Yeah, no, I don't know. In 40 years, I'm retiring. What are you going to be doing, dog?
I'll be close to retiring, I said.
I don't know, dude. That's going to be me, dude. I can't see myself doing anything but one of those like trashy office jobs, dude.
The redditor later wrote in the comments, there was something in the background right before the first cut.
Guys, there's a little jiggling going on with our doorknob. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know who that is, or if I call my dad, I know we're not going upstairs, that's for sure. I'm hoping he's going away. This is the 3rd time he's done that.
And it started stalking us and trying to get in.
Oh, you can kind of see him. Oh. Yeah, no, there he is. That's a little scary for us tonight. My dad is not home. I don't know if I call him or what. Dude, we found the guy that was at our house knocking. He's just walking on the highway. We passed him like a couple times. Now he's gonna be up here, I think.
Dude, this is
crazy. You guys see him? Yes. Oh, I'm not slowing down, dude. I'm not risking this.
Be careful.
Driving in the
You don't want to hit him, dude. He's just walking out.
There he is. There he is. There he is. That's creepy.
What?
To which Pete the Cook 2 responded with, I can see it in the background before you go in, but can't make it out when you are looking out the window. Is the thing in the background the same as the guy walking down the road? The uploader later responded saying, he was actually out the window if you look against the garage. We think it's the same guy, because it's not like a group of people are going to a house that rule. It seems like this was one of the most positively received submissions in Chill's narrator subreddit history. Thanks Conscious Swing 7599. I stumbled across a scary elevator video from a Hindi-speaking YouTube channel. This video was the thumbnail image, and yet the video itself was missing on the list. That made me want to track down the original, and guess what? It's every bit as creepy as it looks. What looks like your average couple's argument goes way too far when he sees the door close at 8 seconds. The woman fearfully flinches, and this video is hard to watch because nobody deserves this and there's nowhere for her to go. By the time the elevator stops, her hands are tense and she is completely frazzled from the mistreatment. He goes to get her, but a stranger does the right thing and steps in between them. He immediately backs off and looks down in shame and embarrassment, but probably only for himself at getting caught. Anyone who does this is pretty messed up. I think this relationship is probably over. Anyway, this was originally posted by the Interval House in California, a place for women to get out of relationships like this one. I'm assuming this CCTV video is real, and it's something we really need to eliminate from society however we can. If you had a chance to visit a haunted hospital, would you? YouTubers Ogden Paranormal became this haunted hospital's reluctant patients when they stepped into Asylum 49. Published to YouTube in September of 2019, Ogden Paranormal wrote, the old 2L Hospital is one of the most haunted places in Utah, if not the most haunted. This location was made famous by the Ghost Adventures crew, who have now visited twice due to the incredible evidence they captured the first go-around. Ogden has investigated this place several times, and this time they returned to investigate who or what scared them out of the place years prior. A little background on the old 2L Hospital. As one of Utah's major paranormal sites, the underfunded hospital was without a morgue, leaving the passed away stacked and waiting for their paperwork. Patients have stuck around the place, showing themselves even to those retired folk who resided in and what remained of the building. It's said that sightings of ghost children often precede someone's passing. Others believe the child ghosts are actually demons, and they aren't the only spirits that appear there. A nurse in white roams the hallways, a man dressed in black appears at 3 a.m., and a little girl has been known to appear and then vanish. So who did Ogden Paranormal encounter during their investigation? Let's see firsthand. Granted, this asylum has been turned into a haunted house, so much of the creepiness you see in the video is set up to appear that way, but other things can't really be explained. About 4 minutes in, they head into the nursery, where a creepy old lady statue is posed. They are alone back here, or so they think. Look at the window to the left. Something passes beyond, creating a shadow figure in the frame. It moves out of frame once they come nearer the old lady. Later on, two of the crew see a figure down one hallway. As they're slowly making their way down the hallway, a giggle is heard in one of the rooms. The room is empty apart from some freaky mannequins.
Where you at, Wes?
Later, while all gathered in a conference room, they hear footsteps.
What's that? Have you not moved? No. You guys heard those footsteps over here, right? Yeah, I thought that was you, man.
During their ghost box session, spirits are responding with frequency. One tells them good luck repeatedly. and one of the spirits brings up Skittles, which had been part of the conversation on a previous visit to the asylum. Little anomalies and disembodied breathing are also heard throughout the investigation. Makes you wonder, are there spirits here? Or are these mannequins about to come? Just when you thought you were alone, posted to the Ghosts subreddit by littlebit_, the Redditor notes that he and a friend on an investigation of an abandoned church in the middle of nowhere. He explains that his friend had gone to the parking lot on the other side of the building. He had stepped out to call his wife, he writes, and didn't return inside the building for another 10 minutes. Didn't even see this footage until after we had left. Creepy as heck. The footage shows a figure's head appearing in the window pane of the door several times, the short dark peering in at him. Some in the comments suggest it's probably just his friend outside, but as the Redditor explains, his friend wasn't in the building. He thinks the figure looks like a nun or a woman that, if you look closely, the face of the figure appears ghostly white. A close-up shot of the face does indeed suggest that appearance. Is this a ghost? A living person? A stranger or his friend? The question is, can there be a logical explanation to this figure's presence, or are we dealing with the paranormal yet again? Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.